CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with an update to the frat house fire from earlier this week, which sent several people to hospital. Today, London police say a suspect has turned himself in. Carlisle Fazette has more.
In this cell phone video, flames can be seen in the background of a fraternity party Tuesday night at the Pi Kappa Alpha House near Richmond and Cheapside. According to London police, 6 people suffered injuries of varying severity, including 5 women who were taken to hospital. As of Thursday, police said 2 of those women were still receiving treatment in hospital. However, they have not provided any details on the nature of their injuries. In a media release Friday, London police said a suspect had turned himself in. Police say they've now charged 20-year-old Bryson Donald with 1 count of criminal negligence causing bodily harm, saying he's responsible for starting the fire. Donald was scheduled to make a court appearance Friday, and police are still asking anyone else with information on the incident to contact them. Carlisle Fazette, CTV News.
After that appearance today, Donald was released from custody. His next court appearance is scheduled for January. Housing advocates are asking questions of City Hall, wondering why local frontline agencies haven't been more involved with the mayor's plan to open a micro-shelter community next month. With more on those concerns, here's Daryl Newcomb.
These are people who have had very difficult experiences.
Housing advocate Abe Udshorn is concerned that City Hall chose a private company to operate a micro-shelter community that'll be constructed in this cornfield, rather than any of the local nonprofit agencies with experience serving London's homeless.
It just doesn't make sense to me to approach it from a security company operating this type of service. These are folks with complex needs, and you need to have expert staff who are there to support them to have the best outcomes.
The mayor directed city staff to design and create a 60 micro-shelter community that's now expected to open in January. After a competitive bidding process, Expera was chosen to operate the site. Its website explains, quote, Expera is Canada's largest national investigation and risk mitigation firm, providing service for over 40 years. On Wednesday, Mayor Josh Morgan expressed confidence in the selection, explaining that the company has experience housing remote communities evacuated from natural disasters, and that its staff are well trained.
Trauma-informed response, crisis management, first aid, cultural sensitive training. They are a great company that is going to do a great job on the site.
We've learned that city staff have invited local frontline agencies to a meeting here at this community center 2 weeks from now to discuss how they can support a micro-shelter project that, at least to date, they've had very little input into.
The organizations are now being brought in at the last minute to try to provide that quality of service rather than these organizations who are experts in the area running it in the first place.
The temporary homeless facility has a budget of up to $7 million and will operate until April 2027. Udshorn emphasizes that when local nonprofits provide services, they can focus on human outcomes.
We trust them to do the work in a way that's kind and to use the resources in a really effective way. They're not there to make money, they're there to help the community.
A progress report about the micro-shelter community will be in front of Council's Strategic Priorities and Policy Committee on Tuesday. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Meanwhile, officials in Chatham-Kent say a person living in a cabin for people experiencing homelessness has died. They say the person was found dead inside their cabin Thursday. Officials say the coroner could not immediately determine how they died, but they say there's no evidence of foul play. Sarnia's mayor says he's exercising his strong mayor powers for the first time, shutting down a new police station. Mike Bradley turned down a council budget decision to fund initial work on new proposed headquarters. Brian Bicknell reports.
A vanity project that Sarnia ratepayers can't afford. That's how Mayor Mike Bradley describes a proposed $91 million new police headquarters that he says will balloon to $120 million. The mayor has vetoed a council budget decision to borrow $5.1 million for the engineering and site work.
Put away some money, look at your options, maybe look at precincts, keeping the existing station, upgrading it, get rid of the administration in that building, put them elsewhere. There's all sorts of solutions there. But they're going for the Cadillac, and the Cadillac is $120 million that the people of Sarnia cannot afford.
The Police Services Board had initially sought the full $91 million commitment. Last month, it revised its request, seeking a staged building approach instead, with an ask of $25 million for the first phase. On November 25th, Council approved $5.1 million to get the work started.
By not proceeding, it actually is going to be more costly because we're going to have to put money into a facility that's not going to serve the service in the long run. And by delaying the project, we're simply going to be spending more in the long run.
Council budget deliberations came amid an aggressive social media campaign by the police service, highlighting shortcomings of the existing police headquarters. Police Chief Derek Davis says the issues haven't changed.
We have a custody facility that needs work. We have insecure unload, offload outside of the parking lot. We have space constraints. We have IT infrastructure issues. This building was built in 1987. It was built before computers were commonplace.
Bradley also vetoed a decision to borrow more than $4 million for a proposed sports complex. The changes bring Sarnia's projected tax hike to 3.1%, down from 4.3%. Council can still override vetoes, but it needs 2/3 majority.
So my hope is that my veto will not be overridden by the majority. They need 6. The vote was relatively close, and I need them to understand that people of Sarnia right now cannot afford this.
The next council meeting is set for December 15th. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A new manufacturing facility is coming to Ingersoll, which officials say will create dozens of new jobs. As Sean Irvin reports, it won't offset the layoffs at the Cami assembly plant, but it certainly helps.
In a community devastated by 1,200 layoffs at GM Cami, any sign of economic growth in Ingersoll is welcome.
The job numbers aren't huge, but the investment is very significant.
ArcelorMittal Taylor Banks is already working to build a 154,000 square foot facility just off the 401. The firm produces steel safety components for the automotive industry. Some hiring has already begun, with a workforce of between 28 to 35 people expected to be in place by this time next year. Ingersoll officials report the company is hoping to start some pre-production this summer. AMTB already operates a facility in Woodstock. Ingersoll offered breaks on development charges and taxes to lure the firm to town.
We're not looking for the quick win, and so we want to be able to have that long-term prosperity in our community. So I'd rather give up some funds in the short term for that long-term gain.
The incentives and Ingersoll's proximity to other AMTB facilities helped it beat out dozens of other municipalities.
In this case, ArcelorMittal was looking at 41 different municipalities, and Ingersoll came out on top.
We're within an hour's commute of approximately 3 million working age people, and part of a talent cluster. So I think that's ultimately what made the decision.
The province announced this week that it's putting $4.1 million towards the project. In a release to the media, the government stated AMTB is an example of the reshoring of production from the United States. While a positive development for Ingersoll, the community has no choice but to remain focused on Cami. Everyone here is confident the plant will restart. It's just a question of when.
We anticipate it's going to be a bit of a longer term before we get positive news coming from that facility.
But Petrie believes there is always the hope that more plants like this one are on the horizon to ease the impact.
There's going to be more of that coming, I think.
Sean Irvin, CTV News.
The jury has returned several recommendations at the end of the inquest into the death of a London woman in police custody. Amanda Bolt was arrested in November 2019. She later collapsed in her cell and was rushed to hospital, where she died 10 days later. The jury recommendations emphasized embedding medical professionals within the headquarters detention unit while developing and implementing training for officers when it comes to medication requests, particularly when an inmate has been identified as high risk or provides information on personal health conditions. Provincial police are reporting a drop in impaired drivers 2 weeks into their festive ride campaign. Western Region OPP say they laid 43 impaired driving charges last week, down from 53 in week 1. There were 21 charges laid in Elgin County, by far the most compared to other local counties. The ride campaign runs until New Year's Day. OPP have identified a driver and vehicle of interest in their investigation of a fatal hit and run on the 401 from Wednesday. A tow truck driver was killed and the person who hit them drove off. Colton Weens has more on the reaction from the tow trucking industry.
A 42-year-old Kitchener man was operating a tow truck, helping a stranded motorist on Highway 401 Wednesday morning when he was killed in a hit and run. Tow truck operators say it's a terrifying example of why drivers need to slow down around emergency vehicles.
A lot of people don't even realize what's going on when they're driving down the road. They see a vehicle on the side. I think most of them are just oblivious to what's going on around them when they're on the highway.
Towing manager at Active Towing in Kitchener, Al Pinero, didn't know the man who was killed, but says in the cities, most drivers give tow trucks space when they're working, but on highways, it's often a different story.
We've been parked in front of a police car with them having their lights on, us having our lights on, picking up a vehicle, and they whiz by. Like I said, the public is oblivious to that law and to what's kind of going on around them.
One of the challenges for tow truck operators on the highway especially is they say there's not much of a buffer zone from the side of the highway to the active lanes.
There's really no buffer for us unless, every time we pick up a car on the highway, we get a blocker truck, and that only happens very rare.
It is law in Ontario that drivers must slow down when they see an emergency vehicle or tow truck with flashing lights and must move over if it's safe to do so. But while many do that for police, fire, and ambulance, it's less common around tow trucks.
The activity to do that same action for tow truck drivers, what we've seen is it's not as high as it is for other emergency services.
Drivers that don't obey the law could face a fine of $400 to $2,000, 3 demerit points, and could have their license suspended.
Even at giving that space, you feel the wind of highway speed vehicles going past you.
DeFelice says while there is no set number that drivers must slow down to, they still must slow down significantly.
Recognizing that there's a flow of traffic and you need to, manage the flow of traffic, but obviously 100 kilometers an hour speeding past someone who's working on the side of the road isn't safe.
As for the investigation, police have identified a vehicle and driver of interest, but have not released any more updates. Colton Weens, CTV News, Kitchener.
A hearing over a controversial Huron County gravel pit is heading to mediation. According to members of a citizens group fighting the potential pit near Goderich, mediation will begin in February. An Ontario Land Tribunal hearing started earlier this year in response to the group's concerns. Opponents say the pit will negatively impact the environment and a nearby historic bridge. The hearing is expected to resume in May once mediation is complete. It's warden election season in Midwestern Ontario. Saugan Shores Mayor Luke Charbonneau will stay on as Bruce County leader, selected by his fellow county councillors. In nearby Grey County, Andrea Matrosofts retained her position leading that region. In Perth County, Dean Trentowski from West Perth will take over the warden's chair. A Christmas tradition kicked off in London tonight with the annual lighting of the lights.
When the lights come on at Christmas, may your love shine just as bright.
The festivities took place in Victoria Park. Visitors got the chance to enjoy some live music and a variety of delicious treats, but the highlight of the night was the magical moment. Hundreds of lights lit up the park. You can check out the display from now until January 16th. Meanwhile, just down the road, the London Knights faced off against the Windsor Spitfires, and it was a heated affair.
He's on pace to record his first 20-plus goal season this year. Here we go. Here we go.
Bowski, he's supposed to be Windsor's tough guy. He's up against Creek. Creek takes him down.
That was just a glimpse of the rough stuff from the second period, resulting in 6 misconduct penalties, with more to come in the third. It was all Windsor tonight, getting out to a 3-0 lead. London would get one back, but it wouldn't be enough. The Knights would drop this game to a score of 4-1, but they will get another chance tomorrow night in Windsor. Coming up, a major day for soccer fans who Canada will face in next year's FIFA World Cup. Canada's main stock index was weighed down by losses in the technology sector. The TSX closed down 166 points, while the Dow gained 104 and the Nasdaq is up 73. The Canadian dollar added almost half a cent today, and on commodity markets, gold was unchanged and oil gained 41 cents a barrel. London's unemployment rate rose to 7% last month. That's an increase of half a percentage point from October's figure. That puts us above the national average, 6.5%, and below the provincial average, which was 7.3%. In Midwestern Ontario, the jobless rate fell 0.5% and now sits at 3.9%, the lowest of any region in Ontario. The federal government is reportedly reviewing options when it comes to new fighter jet purchases. Canada has a commitment with the U.S. for American-made planes, but as Rachel Aiello reports, a pitch from Sweden may force officials to reconsider.
As the Canadian government contemplates following through on its procurement of Lockheed Martin's F-35s or diversifying the Air Force's fleet by also acquiring Swedish company Saab's Gripen E fighters, a nano survey about procurement priorities is shedding new light on what Canadians think is most important. 40% said having the fighter jet that is the best solution. 28% said picking the jet that generates the most Canadian jobs. 18% said defense cooperation with Europe was the most important factor. Double the number of Canadians who said cooperation with the U.S. was key. And just 2% of those surveyed said the government should pick the lowest cost option.
What this shows is that if the government decides to change tact, it's actually going to have to explain why.
A recently leaked procurement document revealed the F-35 scored higher than the Gripen across a range of military and technical performance categories.
In your report and recommendations to the Prime Minister in this review, did you let him know that the F-35 beat the Gripen by a mile?
The review continues, and it will continue until it's complete. And I am quite sure that the kinds of metrics you're alluding to and referring to will find their way into the final report.
Experts say while the F-35 may be the better choice to maintain interoperability with the Americans, a diversified fleet compatible with more countries could also be to Canada's advantage. Even as critics suggest Saab's pledge to create 10,000 jobs in Canada is unrealistic.
There is no single best jet. It depends on the missions.
The defense minister hasn't committed to a deadline for when the government will decide what fighter jets will make up the fleet, replacing Canada's aging CF-18s. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
New developments from the United Healthcare CEO shooting trial as Luigi Mangioni's lawyers are fighting to exclude some evidence. According to video and testimony from yesterday's hearing, Mangioni had been approached in a Pennsylvania McDonald's by police, and minutes later he said he didn't want to talk. Police continued asking questions and he continued answering. The video showed nearly 20 minutes passed before police informed him of his rights to remain silent. His lawyers argue that his statements aren't fair game for the trial because officers ask questions before reading his rights.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. A few clouds as we head into the night. Our temperatures fairly comfortable in comparison to what we dealt with early this morning. We are tracking 2 low pressure systems that will push through in the next 48 hours. The first one overnight tonight, and it will bring some snowfall to Grey and Bruce County. Cold air mass in behind it, some flurries possible as well. And the second one will also usher in widespread snowfall. I'll tell you what we can expect coming up right after the break.
It's time to build a toy mountain. Make this holiday season merry for so many kids.
Bring new unwrapped toys to CF Masonville Place.
All in support of the Salvation Army.
We will be collecting donations November 21st to December 24th.
With all donations helping families right here in our community.
Toy Mountain, supported by Gomez Appliances, London Bass Center, and UBC Built Local 1946.
Let's make this the best Toy Mountain ever. Visit ctvlondon.ca for more ways to donate.
Carry the fire for a world free from the fear of cancer, and time is almost up. The absolute final deadline for the Princess Margaret Lottery is midnight tonight. It's your last chance to win over 13,000 prizes worth more than $7.9 million, including the $7 million grand prize package, an incredible fully furnished Georgian-style Oakville show home, plus $500,000 in cash. Add on even more chances to win with the 50-50 jackpot, now over $6 million. The cash calendar with 100 days of prizes and the Wanderlust add-on for your choice of 10 life-changing vacations or 70 grand in cash. Cancer is the leading cause of death in Canada, and 2 in 5 Canadians will face a diagnosis. Every ticket helps fund life-saving research at the Princess Margaret, one of the top cancer centers in the world. The final deadline is tonight. Buy now at princessmargaretlotto.com.
Here's Rita Ismail with your full weather forecast. Rita?
Lauren, it was bitterly cold start to the day today, but good news, we are warming up as we head into the night. Overnight, we dropped down to minus 15. Parts of the region actually woke up to temperatures feeling close to minus 20 with the wind chill. We are nowhere near where we're supposed to be this time of year. We have that polar vortex in place, and cold temperatures lingered the last couple of days with a brief warm up ahead. Now, normal this time of year, 3 degrees, record high 16 in 2001, record low minus 12 in 1991. As we head into the night, there is a low pressure system that is going to move through in the next couple of hours. You could see some widespread snowfall throughout Grey Bruce County near Owen Sound. And then for us here in London, we could pick up some light dusting of snowfall early Saturday morning before this system quickly moves out, leaving behind cloud cover, strong winds over Lake Huron, and you guessed it, lake effect flurries. And behind it, the next system, similar, an Alberta Clipper, will move through Sunday morning. This one appears to be picking up a lot of moisture as it crosses over Lake Huron. Again, widespread snowfall for Grey Bruce, Huron, and Perth. And then this will be early Sunday morning into pretty much most of Sunday afternoon as well before it moves out. Similar pattern sets up. And you have lake effect flurries and snow squalls also possible Sunday afternoon for Huron and Perth and Grey Bruce County. Now, tomorrow morning, it will be a bit of a chilly start, but again, not as cold as today was. It'll feel close to minus 10 early Saturday morning. Recovering nicely, though, to minus 2. That is warmer than the temperatures we've been dealing with the last couple of days. In terms of temperatures, tomorrow will be the warmest of the next 7. That snowfall is there Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Then we have sunshine on Monday, which is great news, but it won't be enough to warm us up. Our temperatures drop right back down. The high will struggle, reaching only a forecast high of minus 6. Heading into Tuesday, a brief warm up Tuesday, Wednesday, but with that, a light snowfall is in the forecast in the middle of the week, and then flurries set up again in behind that for Thursday. The temperature dropping again. Polar vortex air mass returns, minus 6, feeling like minus 14 on Friday. Midwestern Ontario, you will be impacted the most by both of these low pressure systems that are moving through overnight tonight and then early Sunday morning. We're expecting you to pick up about 20 centimeters once these systems move out by Monday. Now, again, Monday, the brightest of the next 7, but unfortunately also the coldest at minus 16 early Monday morning. Bundle up as you head out the door next week. It will be quite chilly first thing Monday. And then again, a brief warm up Tuesday, Wednesday, but snowfall will continue. So we are certainly feeling like winter this week. Lauren?
Thanks, Rita. The eyes of soccer fans were on Washington, D.C. this afternoon for the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw, determining Canada's opponents for next summer's tournament. With more on the results, here's Paul Hollingsworth.
48 teams, 12 groups of 4. Switzerland and Qatar will battle Canada in Group B. The 4th team in Canada's group will be determined based on the winner of an upcoming pre-World Cup playoff.
Between Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, Bosnia, and Herzegovina.
As a host country, Canada automatically qualified for the World Cup and are ranked 27th in the world. With the complexion of their group competition taking shape, Canada now looks ahead to the World Cup, hoping to win a tournament game for the first time ever, and it won't be easy.
Well, obviously they got the toughest pot 4 team. We know that. We don't know who it's going to be, but thinking it being a European team, and it could be Italy themselves, it makes it an extremely difficult game. But what an exciting match we're going to get in Toronto.
I think the highlight is absolutely Qatar.
Canada will play its first home match June 12th in Toronto before shifting to Vancouver for matches on June 18th and 24th. FIFA will unveil its full match schedule on Saturday, announcing all the games being played in Canada. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Washington.
Production of the Olympic medals are taking shape in Italy as it gears up to host the Winter Games in February.
I will produce 1,100 medals, which will be based mainly on 700 for the Olympic Games and 400 for the Paralympic Games.
Machines are running all day to create the gold, silver, and bronze medals at the Italian State Mint. Each gold medal will contain over $800 worth of gold, though getting one is, of course, priceless. Finally tonight, Ryan Reynolds knocked it out of the park this year with this video promoting the annual campaign to raise money for Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto.
And this year, well, it just happens to be the pride of Ontario and Los Angeles. That's right, Mr. Freddie Freeman.
Of course, Freddie Freeman was a key member of the Los Angeles Dodgers who defeated the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series. And the kids weren't exactly thrilled to see him.
You've really got some nerve coming here.
I just wanted to visit because I'm just so happy and so proud of how you guys are. Whoa, who threw that?
Go back to your sunshine and traffic, you hoser.
Freeman was a good sport, playing along in the video as he struck out with the kids. The All-Star was raised in California, but his parents are from Ontario. That's our time tonight. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Lauren Stallone. Have a good night.
Different light, like a candle in the window on a dark and stormy night when the